The MMA fortune teller.
The teller. The teller. The teller. The teller. The teller. The teller.
What's up, you guys? The Ultimate Fighter Season 29, Episode 8. This last episode we had was the last fight of the first round. So now every fighter in the house has basically fought. Obviously, this last episode we had a little bit of an issue where the fighter Huntsinger was not able to fight. So he was the only fighter that was not able to fight. Of course, we had a fighter that stepped in for him. Micheal Gillmore stepped in this episode to take on the very skilled Gilbert Urbina. So, real quick, if you guys aren't familiar, this was Miles Hunsinger. He had a ligament tear or a partial ligament tear. And this was kind of a funky situation here because the doctor gave him the choice if he wanted to fight or not. So it wasn't, he was right in that middle range where, the doctor didn't want to say, yeah, you should definitely should not fight because you can damage the leg, in a very bad way if you step in there. And it obviously wasn't at that level where the doctor said, yeah, it's no problem. You're good to go. So he was right in that middle range, and it was a kind of an awkward situation. As you saw, Ortega and Gracie and those boys were there to support Hunsinger, trying to motivate him to step in there, which I think was the right move. Knowing how the fight game works, knowing how Dana White in the UFC works, I think that was the right move to try to push him to fight. I think that he made a big mistake not fighting. I know some of you may disagree with me here. Of course, for those of you guys that have had major injuries, I've had some major injuries training myself. I know what it's like to have a major leg injury and to try to even have the confidence to let alone step into a cage and fight. I'm talking about just even to get back in the gym and train. So I understand, I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but when you know what this game is about and you know what Dana White's looking for, he's probably going to put Hunsinger to the fire here for this. I don't even know if Hunsinger will have another chance in the UFC. He might, and hopefully he does, but Dana White also might hold it against him. You saw when they announced this new fighter, Micheal Gillmore, when they announced that he was going to be the new opponent at the weigh-ins, and they had the little announcement here on the show. Dana White, as soon as Hunsinger walked away, he started putting him on blast. He said he had the choice to fight. Dana White doesn't like that stuff. So just keep that in mind. And the type of attitude and personality Dana White looks for is guys like this. Micheal Gillmore, well, he was very excited that this guy quit his job because his job wasn't going to give him the opportunity to take time to stay out in Vegas and wait for this type of opportunity to step in on the show. So he quit his job. This guy was willing to do anything that it took to get an opportunity with the UFC. Now, there is a happy medium because, quite honestly, I don't think that this guy is near UFC caliber. I understand he took this fight on extreme short notice, but this is a guy, I'm going to pull him up real quick, who was 6-3 as a professional, 34 years old, and with the limited amount of tape you can watch on him, this guy just really doesn't seem to be it, in my opinion. You look at his victories, they're over guys with 1-1 record, 2-1, 2-3, 3-2, 0-1. I mean, really fighting lower level talent. And as we're going to get to in a second, I guess, I'm kind of giving it out if you didn't see the show, but he did not fare too well in this fight against Gilbert Urbina. Gilbert Urbina went out there, took him down in seconds, and he submitted him. And this guy Urbina is looking really good. I want to talk about Gilbert here for a second. Gilbert was the third brother from his family to fight on The Ultimate Fighter. The other two brothers, if you guys remember them, I think Hector Urbina, I forgot the other brother's name, but those guys didn't fare so well. They didn't get any victories, but Gilbert went out there and he got his arm raised there for the Urbina family. And this is a guy, I'll pull up Gilbert real quick. Gilbert 6-1. This guy could grapple. He could strike. He's a phenomenal athlete. Comes in great shape. Only 25 years old. This is a guy that's going to be around for a bit. This is a guy we'll be seeing come from the show. And I think this is a guy we'll be watching fight in the UFC for quite some time. Not to say that they have exactly the same type of style, but kind of reminds me of like a Brad Tavares in a weird sense. Just a guy that you're going to see come from that show. You're going to see him evolve throughout the years and just hang around and be a solid fighter. That's kind of the vibe that I get from Gilbert when I see him on the show. But, a lot more to come from him. He has a big fight moving forward. And this is what I'm excited to talk about, man. I want to talk about the brackets now. Because to cap this show off, they started to put the matches together for the rest of the show, which I'm really excited about now. So I want to talk about this. So Andre Petroski will be taking on Brian Battle. So that's, you guys know I'm very high on Andre Petroski. I do favor him to win the middleweight bracket. So Brian Battle, you guys know I'm a big fan of his as well, though. I've been rooting for this guy. I like him. I like his personality. So that's going to be an exciting fight. On the other side of the bracket, we got Tresean Gore taking on Gilbert Urbina, who we were just talking about. Gilbert Urbina versus Tresean Gore, an awesome matchup. I think I give the edge slightly to Urbina on the mat from what I was able to see. We didn't see a lot of Gore on the mat there. And on the feet, I think I give the edge to Gore there in the feet. So we didn't really see a lot of Urbina on the feet yet. So it's going to be exciting to see how those fights play out. But as of right now, I think I got Tresean Gore versus Andre Petroski in the finale, in the final. So that would be awesome to see. You guys know that's the main fight I've wanted to see since this show has been unraveling. And over to the bantamweight division, which will also take us to next week's episode, which we'll get to in a second. But in the first side of the bracket, we have Vince Murdoch taking on Brady Haston. Vince Murdoch, the more complete fighter, in my opinion, the more seasoned fighter. Brady, the young, tough, energetic fighter who really needs to grow, I think, with his overall game, but he's a tough outing. So that's going to be an exciting fight. And then, again, to our upcoming episode, we got Liudvik Sholinian taking on Ricky Turcios. Now, this is going to be a good fight here. These guys are both very skilled fighters. Ricky Turcios, in my opinion, was a little bit more impressive with his overall game. He could strike. You saw the takedown defense in this fight against a very tough fighter who he took on, and Dan Argueta, who was no joke, the number one pick there for Ortega in the bantamweight division. Turcios looked very good in that fight. Has that traditional martial arts type style, can strike, but he has a wrestling background as well. And then he's taking on the very tough Liudvik Sholinian, who in my opinion is more of a grappling-based fighter, a guy that's looking to get this fight down to the mat, control you down there. Not the most entertaining, but he's very physically fit, and he can do damage on the mat with his ground and pound. So it's not like he's just a wet blanket. I mean, this guy could pepper you up. He's a tough dude here. I have a feeling that Turcios will be a little bit more complete here. But it's a very tough fight. I could see Sholinian maybe having that grappling edge, sealing some rounds there. I don't know if these fights here are still going to be two round fights and only a third round if need be. I hope that they're just 3-round fights from here out. I forget exactly how they do that. For some reason, I'm kind of remembering that they changed it up as you move through the bracket. So I hope that is the case. But here, I don't think the bantamweight bracket is as exciting as the middleweight bracket, but I would like to see Ricky Turcios versus Vince Murdoch. I think that'd be a cool fight as far as I'm concerned. So that's what I'm hoping to see there. You guys, please comment below. I'm curious what you guys are thinking about this show, and as far as with the bracket, do you guys agree with me as far as who do you want to see fight in the finals, who you see taking this whole thing? I see right now, I'm going to call it out, I see Andre Petroski taking the middleweight bracket, and I'm going to say Turcios takes the bantamweight bracket as of right now. But the bantamweight, I think the bantamweight bracket's a little bit closer, a little bit harder to call in my opinion. But again, I'm excited for these fights that are upcoming. And we'll kick it off next week with the Liudvik Sholinian fight, fighting Ricky Turcios. So, comment below. Please like this video. We got a solid fight card coming up this Saturday. Corey Sandhagen taking on TJ Dillashaw. It's going to be a good one. A lot of good fights throughout that card. And you guys, keep in mind, I told you guys on that entire fight card breakdown, the UFC Vegas 32 breakdown, I have a major play, a 6.5 unit play. It's only 1.5 units shy of a max play. I'm very confident in this play. I feel very good. It's at great odds. And if you guys are interested, it's not only that play. I'm very confident in another play. I had a third play, but that fight did fall through. So you guys can imagine it was the Aspen Ladd versus Macy Chiasson fight. And I had Aspen Ladd in that fight. And I don't normally target those types of fights, but I like Ladd in that spot there. But again, those other plays, and I feel very confident in, and I will be adding another play as well. So if you guys are interested, reach out to me. I can give you my pricing. And but as always, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. And back to the Ultimate Fighter, man. I'm very excited to see this show go to the end and see who wins this whole thing in both divisions. All right. Thank you guys. Signing out. The Teller.
The MMA Fortune Teller.
The Teller. The Teller. The Teller. The Teller. The Teller.